Alright, the video you're about to see was recorded about a week ago, and I felt like I needed to add this at the beginning because I don't want to go back and re-record everything I did, but I have to address something that came up this past Saturday at Supreme. Let's say I was blindsided by this. Aaron Abbott, it's no secret, one of my best friends, I thought was one of my best friends in this business, completely turned his back on me and all the fans and has joined Andy Shades inexplicably. I'm still at a loss for words. We'll take a look at this clip here.
Yeah, well, I was just saying how he injured you. No. Oh, you want some of this?
What the?
You see, people like you are done around here. People like me are gonna rule supreme. I've now got Aaron Abbott in my corner.
You gotta be kidding me! You son of a bitch!
What? Steven hit me in the head with a bottle! With a bottle and you run around friends with him! Well, I gotta sit around for 6 months watching him run around with a stupid crown on! And I'm the bad guy!
How many times, Jason, did you call him? Because I called him to check on him.
I did too. Listen.
Yeah, so that happened. I felt like I needed to add this at the beginning because I don't want to go back and shoot a whole other video with my thoughts, but I couldn't leave the video as it is with you know, all the praise I gave Aaron, and then he goes and does this. I mean, I don't know. Time will tell what all happens, but yeah, I'm not in a very good mood right now, but I'm going to try to move on and be professional. You know, it doesn't involve me, but in a way it kind of does. But I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be professional. I hope you guys actually enjoy this podcast. I'm trying to make it depressing. This is a look at my past 9.5 years in wrestling. So coming next is the video I shot before this. So let's get to it. Welcome to this special bonus episode of Tales from the 90s. This week, instead of looking at something retro, we're only going to look back to the past 9.5 years. We're going to look through my journey in the wrestling business. So pull up a chair, don't hit somebody with it. Make sure you grab you a bowl of $27 toenail soup, and here we go. If you don't get the soup joke, it's an inside thing. Only a few people in a group chat would know. It's completely stupid, but I find so much humor in it. So I'm going to carry it on way past the point of funniness. Anyway, we're going to be talking about just my journey going through wrestling. Again, I'm not going to get on here and first of all, I'm going to say this isn't going to be a, ooh, what backstage secrets am I going to spill? I'm not going to do anything like that. I might talk a little bit about 5 Star if I get into it. I don't want to bring their lame crap into this. But this is just my experiences. And I'm going to show some video clips throughout, kind of explaining what's going on. Really, I guess start talking about like my love for wrestling to begin with. I remember it always being on as a kid, like, you know, uncles or just whoever would be watching it. It'd be on in the background, and I would just gravitate towards it more and more, and then kids would be talking about it in school. Of course, my promotion of that I was most familiar with was WCW back in the early to mid 90s. That's what we'd get on TV, because I didn't have cable most of the time, so I'd be watching the syndicated stuff on Saturdays and Sundays, and then when we did get cable, I'd be watching WCW Saturday night, because I normally wasn't watching Monday Nitro or Monday Night Raw, later on Monday Nitro. But yeah, that's kind of my experience. I would collect all the wrestling magazines. There's a story on that I'll get in another podcast. I don't want to bog this one down with wrestling magazines. But, yeah, that's where I got most of my stuff that before I'd even seen people wrestle was from wrestling magazines. And then, of course, late 90s, I started getting into some of the ECW stuff. Started doing some wrestling on my own at school. Me and my brothers would wrestle at home. More like I would make them wrestle. My mom literally called the cops on me one time for making them wrestle. It was just to scare me, which it actually did work. But it's like, looking back, it's like, you love wrestling so much, you got the cops called on you. You made your brothers wrestle. Anyway, through adulthood, I would, me and my brother Josh would go to Raws and SmackDowns. I went with a SmackDown with my wife. I went to one ECW show, but it was WWE owned it. It was the night CM Punk won the title. But yeah, I've been to a few shows in Cincinnati, but never been to an independent show before. I didn't really know what to expect other than it's, they're not going to have WWE there. Or TNA, or whatever was... Yeah, TNA I think was still popular at the time. But my kids brought home a paper from... They went to Southwestern Elementary School at the time. And it was a paper for AWA Supreme Wrestling. Of course, I had no idea what that was. Even though I live around the town, I'd never seen anything about Supreme Wrestling at all. Which was Supreme Wrestling now, but it was AWA Supreme then. But it was at their school, so I was like, okay, we'll go see this. There's going to be cage matches. That's pretty cool. And, how they have a cage match at a school. Like, I thought my extended was, I thought the cage came down. What are they going to do? Lower it? Take off the roof? Anyway, this was actually January 23rd, 2015 was my very first independent and AWA Supreme show. And I'll tell you right now, I was hooked. I'll show a picture here of me sitting in the crowd with my NWO stuff on. First night there, it was, I think the main event was in a cage. It was Eric Draven against Johnny Justice, I think. And Draven had Mortimer Blankenship III out there with him, and he got in a cage, and Draven went to throw a fireball to hit Johnny Justice and hit Morty in the face. Like, blinded him for a few months. But I was like, this is cool. They got cage matches. They got wrestlers that come out and talk to you. Like, during intermission, they've got someone throwing a fireball. I mean, why haven't I been checking this out? So, of course, we heard about the, being good at promotion. They told us about their next show, and they have shows every week at, by the way, 2520 Lanier Drive, same place. Make sure you come and check us out. I've always got my promoting hat on. But, yeah, we went and checked out their first show, and it was at their first show. I think Super Shine, one of their sponsors that's been with them, forever, was giving away $100 that night. And my daughter Ari won $100 off of a raffle thing. It was pretty cool, but just hooked. And that first night, I had a little blue camera. It was a little Polaroid digital camera, and I uploaded some of the matches, but the quality on that one kind of sucked, and it wore out. But we would go to these, we would go to the matches. First, it was every week, and then, of course, you know how money gets. Which, by the way, they're only charging $7 at the time. They only charge $9 now, so it's a heck of a bargain. But like I said, it was only charging $7. But I mean, there was 4 of us, so it was hard to make it every week. But I had been filming everybody's matches, and then eventually I got this really nice Samsung camera, and I would start filming their matches, and I'd eventually get people asking, "Hey, you got my match? You send it to me?" That's kind of how any involvement started, and then a couple wrestlers give me tips like, "Don't zoom in so much," because I would always like sit in my seat and zoom in. And of course, then I was a fan. If you watch any of the early stuff, you can find on my Supreme YouTube channel. You'll hear me screaming in the background, insulting wrestlers. Yeah, I was doing that for a while, and then a couple things got me more involved in wrestling and kind of got my foot in the door. One was a show we did at Super Shine. Like I said, they were our sponsors. It was the second one since I'd been there. Super Shine is this auto detail tent place in Madison. You definitely should check them out. I'm not just saying that because they sponsor Supreme sometimes. Like, they do really good work. But the shows that were outdoor shows, and this one was in the rain. And almost nobody sitting in the crowd because, I mean, it was a pouring rain. there I was with my umbrella and my camera, like recording the whole show, and a few of the wrestlers like sent me a message afterwards, like thanking me for doing that, and showing loyalty because I would sit out there in the rain with an umbrella. That was a crazy show too. Like nobody could hardly do anything. That that mat was so slippery. But to their credit, they put on a show. I mean, there's been so many weather. The only time weather's ever really stopped a show is literally a tornado came through North Vernon during, I think, the first fair show that I've been a part of there. Of course, we do fair shows there every year in June now. Some of the highlights. I always do karaoke there. I won the first year. Damon freaking Blake got me the last 2 years. I'm coming for that title this year. You better call in sick because I'm not losing to you again. Anyway, it was that show, and then a couple messages like we noticed you haven't been there, and I explained, financial reasons, we're having a hard time with bills and being able to afford the show. Because I mean, when it comes to life, of course you got to put your family first before your entertainment. But I was missing the shows, but it was like, guy who owned it told me that. If you come, you can get in for free if you record the shows and stuff. I was like, wow, that's a good deal. So I was there every week since. And really, I could count on both hands and still have fingers left at the amount of shows that I've missed in the 9.5 years I've been there. Well, I guess technically it's been 9 years. Next year will be my 10th year anniversary. I can't believe that. But anyway, I can count that like barely ever missed a show. But anyway, my first show that I was like, because I'd still sat in the crowd and did it, but they wanted, I was like, can I get better shots? What if I, can I stand up? Of course, I was still like not, because I'm a shy person to begin with. I may not seem like it now because I blabber all day to a camera and I talk every week to a crowd, but I was like afraid to approach them, but I'd asked one of them, I can't remember who it was, like, can I get up and record? Like, yeah, that's fine. So my first show that I would do, like the roaming camera, was, I wrote these down so I can remember the dates, was October 2nd, 2015, and it was at Shaw Memorial High School. My first ever match I remember recording was Van Mardigan against Rob Conway. I believe it was for the Supreme Heavyweight title. Yeah, but, that was... Of course, I didn't realize how much work that was, standing on your feet the whole time, going around trying to get the shots. Of course, I was afraid to get up too close to the ring at the time because I was afraid I was going to get yelled at. But eventually I would get better shots, and I would, from that moment on, I was the video guy. People wanted their matches, they'd send me requests, and it was kind of off from there. I eventually would later switch, I would do the Roman camera for a few years, and then I would switch. I got a tripod because it's not as shaky as the Roman camera, and I can get more of a room, and that's pretty much what we use. What's called in wrestling business is a hard cam, which is just if you're watching Raw per se, and that one camera that's like center on the ring from the, I think it's, if you're looking from the ramp, it's to the right. It's in the crowd where the all that stuff is. Anyway, that's the hard cam. Sorry for that convoluted explanation. But, yeah, I'd set that up and I would do pictures. So I have a camera. It wasn't the best camera. I certainly wasn't professional like some of the camera people we have at Supreme now that come and do, record the stuff. I mean, or not record, take pictures. Some of the best. I was just taking pictures because nobody was doing it at the time. But, yeah, I was doing that, and then we had an announcer, and he wasn't coming anymore. I'm not exactly sure why. And then we tried a couple other people out, and they just weren't working, and someone had suggested maybe I could try it. I never thought about being a ring announcer before. I mean, I'm shy. But I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I want to do this because, I was kind of wanting to do more, But I didn't know what else I could do. I certainly, of course, I'd always had a dream of being a wrestler. I mean, who hasn't? But I would, I'd started out ring announcing, and people were like, "Hey, you did a pretty good job." Because when I started out doing ring announcing, I was also taking over doing the music too. And eventually, I'd bring my own computer for that, just because it was easier for me to get, songs. If somebody wanted something, it was easier to get it on my own. That's why you see me there with my computer. It's my own computer. Up until recently, it's been my own microphones. The last one got broke, so Supreme bought new microphones, which are awesome, by the way. And there's 4 of them. But yeah, all the stuff you see me bring is normally my own stuff, because I like have my own equipment. But I've gotten to do a lot through the business just from announcing. I mean, I got to announce with Gary Michael Capetta. If you don't know who he is he announced for the WWF. He was mainly known for NWA and early WCW stuff. I mean, he's been everywhere and seen it all, and I actually got to sit and actually listen to him give me advice, and he would, because he announced the main event that night. But I got to announce with him. I mean, you talk about pressure. You're sitting in front of someone that you'd watched on TV. This is an actual real ring announcer, and you're ring announcing, and I was like, oh, don't let me screw up. And he wasn't like, you did this wrong. He was just like, maybe try that. Because my ring announcer style it's kind of developed into my own, but I really emulated Howard Finkel originally. Especially when, and new, that, I don't think enough announcers in the wrestling business, not to get on a soapbox or anything, take the time to put the importance on stuff like, title changes, or, making their return, or the next week after someone wins the title, announcing them as a new champion. Just not a lot is put into, from what I've seen. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. From what I've seen, not a lot of emphasis is put on that stuff. And I try to make sure the important stuff is known as important. It's a number 1 contenders match. Sometimes I'll find out a match is for a title match, and I didn't know it, and I just announced it as a regular match, and I'm like, come on, why didn't you tell me this? But anyway, some of the things I've gotten to do, probably the greatest thing I've gotten to do announce-wise is announce Jerry the King Lawler. We'll take a look at the clip here.
Weighing 234 pounds from Memphis, Tennessee, wrestling legend and WWE Hall of Famer.
And I've also got to announce former NWA World Champions Abyss.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's standing 6'8", weighing in at 350 pounds, and is a former World Heavyweight Champion. This is your NWA's United States Heavyweight Champion, the Monster Abyss!
And Iron Man Rob Conway. And, so many others. I've met Wildfire Tommy Rich. I actually sat during a show. Tracy Smothers sat out there selling merchandise and would just talk to me like he was an old friend or something, give me advice the whole time. It was like I get to sit out here and listen to basically a Tracy Smothers seminar all to myself. That's a memory that only I have from that night, and that's something that I'll never forget. But I got to meet beautiful Bobby Eaton. That was an amazing time. I actually got complimented at a show in Seymour. We were at the Harmony Park, with the outdoor show in Seymour, and I was doing the music and the camera, and the announcer, he's like, "Wow, you do all that?" I got complimented by Simon Dean. I used to watch him in ECW as Supernova come up with all these, someone like Chris Kanyon that would just innovate moves, and he's complimenting me something just those goosebump type moments that you can't really explain to people that, not just wrestling, but anything that you do that, has any kind of form of entertainment. It'd be like someone that's, hosting a talk show, I don't know, having one of their guests be someone that hosted a talk show and it's their hero or something. It's the only thing I can come up with. Just moments like that I can't explain. But the funny thing I want to announce, I'm going to be the announcer now. But my first show announcing was actually my future tag team partner, Aaron Abbott's first match. He had been a referee, and that was Eric Draven challenge him to a match that night. Yeah, but I mean, some of the I've ring announced for Rhino before, Zach Gowen. I'm mad that the stuff doesn't exist still. But when we were doing commentary for a little while, I actually did commentary with Brian Pillman Jr. And not the footage, but the recording of it got lost. I'm so mad about that. Like, I did commentary with Brian Pillman Jr. I was like fanboying on the commentary, like, yeah, I went to the same high school as your dad, which I did. I went to Norwood High School, and one of the teachers there told me that I was literally sat in Brian Pillman's seat. Because, not Brian Pillman Jr., but Brian Pillman's seat. Like, I don't know if it was true or if he just knew I was a wrestling fan and was telling me that, but yeah, I mean, I knew all about Brian Pillman. He was a star football player at Norwood, for the Norwood Indians, and then, of course, went on to Cincinnati. But here I am doing commentary with his son. I mean, just, like, I can't, like I said, I can't explain, like, the joy that stuff gives me. If that's all I ever did in wrestling, that was enough. But, I've certainly had my moments where I've been involved in things other than that. Before I get into those, though, I'd talk about some of the other stuff that I've done. Like I do the music. I run the website. We've had like 3 different websites. The current one is SupremeWrestling.com. I'm still adding to like the title histories and event histories. Still transferring stuff over there from the older website. This is definitely a better website. I'm going to have more interactive features in the future, hopefully. But I do that. I'll send people their matches. I've worked for 6 different promotions. Well, 5 promotions and 5-star. I can't. My brothers and I wrestled better in our side yard wrestling, as we called it, than these idiots did. But anyway, I'm not trying to. This is meant to be just a fun look back. I'm not like, ooh, he's gonna tell the backstage stuff on this. For one, I've hardly ever back there. But 2, anything I knew about that, I certainly wouldn't tell anybody about it. Everything that happens behind the scenes in wrestling should stay behind the scenes in wrestling as far as like general public. I shouldn't have the right to know what goes on in movie sets behind, so why would I give, is that not that I have all this gossip to share, it's just just in case anybody went into this thinking, oh, he's going to tell about this. Just there's a few stories, but like I said, I won't tell. But we're going to talk about some of these moments that I've had. The first time I've ever gotten physically involved, well, I wasn't willing, is when I got super kicked by Eric Draven. August 18th, 2018. Let's show that now.
What I want to know is what imbecile back there in that dressing room has contacted this guy and brought him here. Whoever it is, I want him to come out here, show the courage, climb into this ring, and stand here face to face with me and tell me that they are the one that brought Jacob the Carpetbagger in here. Because this, you know who it is? You're going to go back there and get him for me.
Actually, you know, I was the one to contact.
You're the one. He fancies himself as an up-and-coming wrestling manager, and you contacted him and brought him here, thinking that he can become a manager in Supreme Wrestling. You thought he would be a good fit. Let me tell you what kind of shot he's going to get. Mortimer Blankenship has been working on a plan to get rid of this guy, and the plan goes something like this.
As you've seen, I was responsible for bringing in the YouTuber Jacob the Carpetbagger, and Draven was not happy and super kicked my head clean off my freaking shoulders. Like, I just got a message from Carson Drake, speaking of, not trying to name drop, probably wanting his match. A great match with Derek Winter from this past week, by the way. Andy Shade's a little snake in the grass just managed him, but anyway. But yeah, I'm telling you, that wiped me out. You see me hit the ground. That was one of the shows I didn't make, was the next week. I was out for a week, still recovering from that. My neck, my jaw was... And then that wasn't the first time, or excuse me, that was the first time. That wasn't the second time. The second time was 2020. I don't have the exact date, but this is the footage on this is kind of grainy because the lights were out and everything. But if you look towards the corner, you'll see me standing there, and then a boot come in and hit me in the face. Like I wasn't even in the ring. I didn't even know Draven was coming around the corner, and next thing I know, boom, knocked down again.
What's this?
But wish I could say it stopped there. Let's see. Yeah, that first super kick was August 2018. A couple months later, October 6th, we're gonna check out the kind of the backstory behind this. Is Van Mardigan had been a thorn in my side for a while. He would be on commentary running me down. He would get up. He would literally lick my camera, for God's sake. He would just be berating me, and I couldn't take it anymore. Let's put it that way. He was set to have, because he was feuding at the time with Chet Ripley, and Chet Ripley was relatively new. He was constantly calling him a dog and all this other stuff. Well, they decided to have, well, they didn't decide. The powers to be decided they were going to have a loser eats dog food match. Well, Van lost and tried to get away from it, and I can't say I would advise this because you don't want to mess with Van Mardigan, but I'd had enough. So he was leaving. I was like, you're not getting out of this. I got up and shoved his face in a can of dog food that was in a bowl.
Come on, kid. Sure.
Shark is coming! Shark is coming, boy!
What's the matter, man?
What? Did I tell you?
I'm just doing my job.
Watch out!
Hey, get off the answer!
I'm lucky to get away from that one with my life because, like I said, you don't want to mess with Van Mardigan, especially in those days. That guy was scary. He's still scary, trust me. There's not many wrestlers I'm intimidated by because I just remember some of the evil things he's done in wrestling. He comes out, it's like, oh boy. You kind of watch what you say. You don't, sometimes I'm out there and someone's cheating and the referee didn't see it. I'm like, come on, referee, turn around. Because, I still get into it. I'm still a fan. But, that's one that I don't say it too loud because he turns over and looks at me. I'm like, oh no. But anyway, here's a clip. It's not one of my finest moments. I can't remember exactly what happened. It was 2019. And Big and Tasty, or Sweet William Valentine, Playboy Mike Trusty, Classic Tag Team, and Supreme. Which, by the way, you'll see through this, it goes from AWA Supreme, and then we were part of the NWA Supreme, and then we went back to AWA Supreme after the NWA had got changed ownerships, and they weren't partnering with anybody anymore. And then now we just Supreme Wrestling, which is probably the best. We don't need any other initials. Everybody knows us as Supreme Wrestling. But this is 2019, and I can't exactly remember what Big and Tasty were doing, but I'd had enough. Like sometimes I'll just be boiling for weeks with some of the stuff I see, and it's not advisable. Like, I'm lucky I haven't been fired for doing this, but I got in the ring to try to stop them, and promptly got beat up by them. And Sweet William Valentine, as you see in this clip, sorry it's a little grainy, by the way, but puts a bag over my head and tries to kill me, I guess. I don't know how I got out of that one. But, yeah, that was... I never had a bag put over my head. That was scary. And then you'd think after that I would be done with my interfering and all this other stuff, but remember a show at Southwestern in 2021 where I would end up doing an interview with Legion, which you don't ever want to do an interview with Legion anyway, but I was doing what I was told by the bosses. I can't remember who Director of Operations was then, but thank you. But to my own discredit, I said probably the stupidest thing. I didn't call his group, as he knows them, a family. I called them a cult. And apparently that's a no-no to Legion, because next thing I know, I'm being taken out by Chet Ripley, who, by the way, didn't thank me for helping with the dog food, but he sure didn't think twice before attacking me, and held down while Legion cut my hair, and didn't even cut it all the way off. Here's a picture of that, or we'll see the video of it and then the picture. I look like a complete goof. The rest of the night I had to sit there half the show looking like this.
Why am I cutting hair? Because see, here's the thing. It's all about cleanliness. We're purging the dirt from your soul. Each and every one of you sheep are filthy, unclean. And if I shave your head, I'll clean you, and you join my family. Yeah!
About joining your cult.
It's not a cult.
What do you mean a cult?
You're not
This is a family!
Why am I your family cult?
You want to talk? Huh? You want?
This is what happens when you call your family a cult.
I'll show you a cult! Excuse me, fellas! Get 'em!
Right to the skin.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Who's the cult now? Don't you ever talk about my family like that again! Next time it'll be much worse!
But by this time, I'd, kind of learned what not to say and who not to say it to. But I always had that itch to want to wrestle. Like, I know I'm not in shape and, I hadn't been training, so it's not like I was expecting, like, okay, I'm going to be a wrestler now. Because really, even if I could wrestle, I know that my value it would be more doing the behind-the-scenes stuff. Because I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I do a lot. And I know that they could replace me with another person. They wouldn't have to get more than one. But, to get somebody there that can do it all, right away. So, like I said, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. But, I know where my value in Supreme is. It's, doing the stuff that I do now. But, I don't know, I had an itch. And they had this, it was called a Rebel Rumble, which is just like a Royal Rumble coming up for the vacant Mid-America title. And I was just, like, if I could somehow win this, it's a Rumble match, so I don't have to go in. I've seen these matches. I could have hit out on the floor or something, which I should have done. But I thought maybe if I could find some way and I could somehow win this title, then maybe I could get a contract as a wrestler, and I would, stupid fantasy stuff in your head. So anyway, I started scheming on Facebook of how to get myself entered in this thing, and finally, they had this tumbler on the announce desk that always sits there with these numbers in it. And finally, I got tired of waiting. I literally reached in and took my own number out, essentially putting myself in the match. And since I had the number, I guess they couldn't take me out of it. But so all of a sudden, I'm going to be in a Rumble match, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be in this. What do I do now? So Anyway, I did my first ever what's called in the wrestling business a promo. It's just, the video of someone is talking about their opponent or a match they've had or a match coming up. Promo is short for promotional. You're promoting what's going on. So I did my first ever promo for this Rumble match. Saturday night, June 4th, Hanover, Indiana at Southwestern High School. Supreme Wrestling presents the Rebel Rumble. And of course, for the winner of that match, you will receive the very prestigious Mid-America Heavyweight Championship. Now, you may have known me the past few years sitting behind the announce desk, doing announcing, commentating, music, anything I could to be around this great professional wrestling business that I love. But what you may not know about me is ever since I could even form a sentence, all I've wanted to do is compete in that ring. It's burned inside of me. And I sit there every week watching everybody do what they love, and trust me, I love what I do too. But just something burns inside of me to get into that ring. And finally, Saturday night, I'm going to achieve my dream. I'm going to compete in that ring. But I'm not just coming to achieve my dream. I know that 30 other men in this match, next week, they can go back wrestling. They can do what they love. But if I don't win the championship, this is probably my only shot, my only opportunity, and I'm going to take it. The Mid-America title has got to come home with me because this might be the only chance I get. Saturday night, you're going to see a side of me you've never seen before. I'm ready. I'm ready to get in that ring and take that Mid-America Heavyweight Championship. The whole Rumble match here, or even my whole time in there, but a little bit of backstory. First of all, you'll notice the horrible hair color choice that I chose. Why did I decide to dye my hair blonde? Midlife crisis early? I don't know. But, yeah. And I had to wear a singlet because I wanted to be a wrestler. I should have just wore pants. Before I got into the match, I mean, obviously I had a list because, I bring everybody out, so I had a list of the participants, so I knew when I was coming out. But I still had a job to do. I still had to announce and play music. Except when I was going to be in there, then I had somebody taking over for me. I can't do all that. But, so I was sitting there, had my wrestling stuff on, and just had to take my shorts off, basically, and I had my singlet, and I had pads, and just the whole 9 yards. I was pumped for this. This was my one shot to do anything in wrestling. As far as, the physicality side. But little did I know, my old friend WPW would come to visit. Now I'll explain what that is. WPW is Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. It's a heart condition. Something I was born with, something a lot of people are born with. It's not rare, but it's also not super common either. What it basically is I have an extra pathway in my heart to where the normal electric rhythm cycles through. Sometimes mine will get caught in a loop to where it'll go and it'll literally beat over 200 beats a minute, constantly. And I've got little tricks that they've shown me what to do since then, because it happened forever, but barely. But as I got older, it got worse and more pronounced. And there was one time it happened on the Stairmaster at Planet Fitness. It was going on for an hour, and I was this close from the doctors giving me this medicine that if they told me later if they would have gave it to me to get my heart back in regular rhythm because of what I had, which they didn't know at the time that I had it, if they would have given me that medicine, it would have probably stopped my heart, and I would have been done. So I'm luckily they sent the EKGs to a specialist who told them what it was, and literally I took a little syringe. I don't know if I have one here on my desk. I normally have one close by. Oh great, now if I have one I'll die. But just a little medicine syringe. And you close the end so no air can get through, and you just blow, bear down and blow. Sometimes I have to lay back on my back to do it. And it will get my heart going back into regular rhythm, and, depending on how long it's happened, sometimes it'll just get back to normal rhythm quickly. Sometimes it takes a while. Anyway, as I'm sitting here for this match, my adrenaline's going crazy. I purposely didn't drink any caffeine that day for the purpose because I was afraid this would happen with my heart. But I get up, my music starts playing, which was a Tales from the Crypt theme, because it's me, of course. But I take maybe 2 steps and I feel it start, and I was like, oh my God, not right now, please. And I couldn't just go sit back down. Everybody would look at me as if I didn't want to do it, that's fine, but if start to do that and I sit back down, I know people would be understanding, but in my head I would be like, okay, he just chickened out. But no, I went in there, and as you'll see in these clips, had the match. I was in there maybe about 10 minutes, came back and sat over, and this thing was still going on. And of course, it wasn't just the WPW. I was in there doing physical stuff, so my heart rate was going up anyway. So it was like, I literally thought I was going to die in that gym. But anyway, I'm going to show a few clips here, and then I'll talk about it.
Jason Cohen!
Not the greatest performance ever in history, of course. Sorry, Steven Storm, about the stink face. Probably why you teamed up with Andy Shades to attack me later on, because of that. But besides the heart thing, I have this like thing with my chest where it's like it's just basically called, it's like a generic chest wall pain, they call it, where I can just like barely, like someone will poke me in the chest just barely, and it'll feel like somebody's hit me with a hammer. But anyway, I got chopped by Dylan Cole, and he didn't take it easy on me, which I don't blame him for. But yeah, he was, that was my first and only chop I've had in wrestling, and I'm lucky it didn't act that up. He hit me higher up here instead of here, or I would have been, everything I was already having, who knows what it could have done. But as you see, the little weasel Damon Blade, always trying to make my life miserable, was in this match, but he was outside tripping me every chance he could get. And of course, the end of a lot of us, when Damnation came out and just threw us all out. Luckily, that one was eliminations, was he didn't have to go over the top rope, because if he would have had to throw me over, and I'm sure he could have, I probably would have died. I would have broken something for sure. As it is, when I came out, I hit the steps going down. Luckily I didn't. I escaped that with no injuries, luckily. But that was, so that if it hadn't been for that WPW, that moment would have been better for me. But just to say I was able to do it was pretty cool, and I didn't think I'd ever be in wrestling ever again, like as far as physicality. Of course, that's until I met Andy Shades. Yeah, we've come to the part now where we're going to discuss Mr. Andy Shades, which I'd recently gotten along with. We'd had a mutual kind of respect for each other, it seemed like, We weren't insulting each other. We got along professionally. But until this past week when he showed his true colors and attacked Steven Storm, which by the time this airs will be a couple weeks later, and I don't know what will happen since then. So if anything happens after that, who knows? I'm not planning on getting in the mix anymore, but this is the story of the tag team match of last year, which is probably the greatest time I've had in wrestling, you know. I mean, I don't know how it compares like to the getting announced King Lawler, but just everything that happened in that, and knowing we were on the show, the last show that pretty much sold out in Seymour, Indiana, that we've had there. I think it's the last show Supreme Wrestling has had in Seymour for a while, or not for a while, since then. And I know we weren't like the main people on the card, but I had quite a few like tell me that they literally came out just to watch my match, and you know, I don't know if they were just saying that to be nice, but it's kind of a good feeling, you know. Because I mean, I certainly hadn't planned on wrestling. Like after the Rumble, I was done. I was happy with that. I was afraid to do any kind of physicality because of all the heart stuff. Couldn't be helped because Andy Shades, doing what he does best besides wearing his goofy little sunglasses, decides to basically start up a war of words. I mean, I guess technically I'm kind of to blame, as you'll see in the clip here. What kind of led up to this is his son, who's now joining him and doing who knows what. I can't believe he attacked Steven too, but at this time I was actually sticking up for his son, who Shades was just insulting all the time. He was, and in this video you'll see here that kind of started things off, he was referring to this garbage can as his son. He's apologizing to Stan, I think was the name of the garbage can. And I couldn't take any more, and here's what happened.
Stan did an awesome job taking out my son. Come on. Shut the hell up. This is enough. Now, I don't know who you think you are.
Are you happy, you fat?
You sit there week after week after week and play music. That's your job. Your only job is to play music. You don't even get to talk anymore. You've got your pumpkin that sits next to you. There's a reason you don't get to do anything else, because from the looks of you, you can't even get out of the chair. Now you got her with you. Like, how does your car get here? I don't have to take this crap anymore. You shouldn't take this.
Was maybe the biggest rush of my life is when I knocked his lights out, because nobody seen that coming. Because I mean, he didn't. I was sitting there. You probably couldn't see, but I was sitting behind the desk, and my wife was there too. She's normally not in there, but she was sitting there with me, and he was insulting her, and I knew if I didn't leave, I would do something I would possibly get arrested for, because I'm not a wrestler, so I'm technically not supposed to be doing anything physical like that. So I was just, I was done. I was walking out. I don't know if I was leaving for good or just walking out of the building, but I had had enough. And then he followed me, and I seen red and turned around, and I'm lucky it was him standing there and not somebody else, because I turned around swinging a fist. And that's pretty much where it all started that night.
To put his hands on a talent. And wait! I would have given him the zipper kicker. The only problem is I don't know if anything's down there, because he doesn't either. Because when he's right Andy Shades, that is enough.
Yeah, Andy Shades, that is just look
You
at it,
stand right there. It is things like this that cause good people like Cohen to do the
Just seen in that clip there, he went running to Damon Blade because I punched him and it's unsafe for him. Well, Damon Blade put him in his place. And then later on that night, here's what. I haven't been in, at the time of this match, I'd been in the business 8 years, and I hadn't been in the business without making friends. So I definitely had somebody I could call that I knew. I mean, I can't say enough about Aaron Abbott. I wrote up, literally he would take me to shows, and there's been a lot of people that have taken me to shows, and I'm not going to name them all here because, some of them might not want me to mention it. But I seriously think anybody that's ever picked me up for a show, because there was a period of time I didn't have a vehicle and had to get a ride every week, and I don't know if it annoyed you having to pick me up, and I'm sorry. At least I live, 10 minutes from 2520 linear drive. Had to get that in again. But Aaron was one that took me like multiple times, not just here, but shows in Seymour, and we'd really gotten close, and I knew that I could depend on him. So when this stuff happened, of course, I knew with Shades involved, I knew Steven Storm was going to get involved. I knew it was a matter of time. So I made a phone call, and I called Aaron Abbott, and who hadn't been in wrestling for maybe, I think at this point, 3 years. But I mean, didn't miss a beat. You see here, he wasn't going to allow Steven to pull any crap. Now this next clip I should have seen coming. I should have known that the type of person Andy Shades is, and the type of person that Steven Storm was becoming, thanks to the influence of Andy Shades, he wasn't gonna get in there and apologize to me. But I fell for it. And, well, you'll see what's about to happen.
All right, thank you for joining us. So, because I'm not good at this, but I put it out there for everybody to give me their opinion. Okay? I don't know how to do this. So what we did is Steven and I both got you a present. We got you some KFC.
There you go, Fatso.
You don't like it?
We knocked that fat boy out, Jason.
Oh
Cohen.
my god, dude, I hate fat people.
Fat people.
I
suck.
hate them so much.
Knocked me out. Still upset there was no chicken in those boxes. Cheapskate, he could have at least gave me the chicken. But anyway, yeah, and then them just running their mouth about me. But see, that after that, me and Aaron got together. We kind of came up with a plan. It's like I knew I had to have Andy Shades in a match. I knew it. Like, there's no way that this could continue like this. I would either get fired for, because we'd be going at it, or we could settle this like men. And that's what I decided to do. But I knew that he wouldn't act like a man. He would have to get, oh, I'm a manager. I can't wrestle. I gotta. So let's have a tag team match. I knew what was going to happen. I'm just not saying I'm smarter than him, but in this instance, I could see like 10 moves ahead of him. So I knew that there was no way he would accept a one-on-one match. It would be a tag team match, but he didn't. But him and Steven did not want Aaron in there. So I was like, well, how am I going to get him to accept a tag team match? So that's when a plan kind of popped up between me, Aaron Abbott, and Madison Payne, which I say it like that is because she become a freaking British butthole, as her dad calls her, because, well, now she's with, well, I'll leave it at that. But she's not doing things the right way in Supreme. She hasn't been for a while. She used to be such a nice person, but she let the fame get to her head, I guess. She still needs to be shipped back to England. Gonna get UPS or something to just ship her back over. Anyway, we all came up with this plan. It's like, how will they accept this tag team match? It's like, maybe we'll make them think that Aaron is out of it. So an anonymous call was placed to arrest Aaron for attacking Steven since he wasn't under contract. Of course, Damon Blade was in on this too. So we do this video, as you'll see outside, and we even had a flashing light to make them think that Aaron had been arrested. I know it's a whole convoluted thing, but it actually worked, as you'll see. Thanks for being there for me, like.
Man, I just hate that I didn't get there sooner. I'm sorry I got to the building late.
That's understandable, man.
Dude, I promise you, all this Andy Shades and the Steven Storm stuff is done.
Hey, Aaron, there's cops here looking for you. They can talk to you.
Hey, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off.
Let me tell you something, Alan. I hope you spend nice and comfy in that jail cell. Because you deserve it. You piece of
Stop bringing that back! Stop bringing that back! You want to make some? Jason. Oh,
The reason Madison Payne was involved is you just seen there in that clip after the arrest is because because Madison had been in training. Obviously, she's a wrestler now. So, I mean, even though what I just said about her being a butthole and everything, she's, she can go in the ring. But at the time, she was hadn't had a match. So it was like, of course they're going to accept a match against an announcer that's had one Rumble match and another announcer that has had no matches, is new to the business. Of course they're going to accept that. They're going to think Madison's my partner. Well, sorry guys. And not sorry about what she did to you in that clip there.
Expunged a week and a half ago. Jason Cohen is off the hook. And Steven Storm, you're facing my newest signee, baby.
Steven had that open challenge for that match, and as you see, Spider-Man was in the ring. And of course it wasn't Spider-Man. It was the man everybody thought was in jail for attacking him. And of course that took place in Seymour, where we'd eventually have that tag team match. But I'm jumping a little bit ahead. But yeah, we really worked hard to try to manipulate them, because it was finally time for some payback for, like I said, I can't say enough about how Steven is now. He is like completely changed. He's respectful towards the fans. And I mean, it hasn't come at a price. Andy Shades wants to say that he can't win a title. You're more worried about custom made. Well, he's trying to do what's right for Supreme and not put himself first. He's putting the fans first. And how can you not like that? No matter what Andy Shades says about championships. But anyway, at this time, Steven was running with Andy Shades, and like I said, we needed to get that tag team match. And this is, before we got there, we had to first have the Trick or Treat street fight, which may be one of my, the funnest matches I've ever witnessed, been a part of. I mean, those two beat the crap out of each other. I don't know how the tag team match ever happened after that, how those two ever walked again. But, We'll look at some clips of that now, and then you can see what happened at the end.
Hey Shades, I'm tired of this crap. Damian Blade, I need you out here now. You see the way that he's tormented me, he tormented Madison, and you've seen last week what he did to Aaron Adams. Not to mention the fact he got him arrested. I'm tired of it. It's enough. I want Andy Shades one-on-one in a match.
What does he even want?
You got tell me what he wants. Well, yeah, I do. Tell me what he wants. Did you hear the monitor back there? He obviously wants to play. You think you want a
I want to match with you. These two fucking
I'm tired of your crap. Me and you. The only thing you've ever done to me is behind my back. You think you're going to be safe one-on-one with me? Yeah, I can take you.
No, you won't.
No, I think you won't.
Now, hold on. Now, for a fact, I know darn well he would be safe one-on-one with you.
Really?
Oh, 100%. I give it 5 minutes, baby. That's how long I give it. 5. But, no. Hear me out. I know you. I know what you do. You're not going to come out alone. You've got underhanded tricks up every single sleeve under that trashy Hawaiian shirt you always wear. These people want to see Jason Cohen crush Andy Shades. And I'm going to do this. Jason Cohen, I'm going to allow you to have a chance to get your hands on Andy Shades.
Right.
But for your protection, because I know he's going to have some tricks up his sleeve, we're going to make it a tag team match. Andy Shades and the superstar versus Jason Cohen and a partner of your choosing. Do you think anybody back there wants to be your tag team partner? Everybody you turn around, you hurt.
Turn around, Stormy, and look.
There's nobody that wants to be your partner. Not one person. We're just gonna injure.
Yeah, I get out of the ring when Kathleen gets in too. Oh, what are you gonna do, Steven?
Yeah! You try first, you moron bigot!
Jason Cohen, you just signed a check you can't cash. You wanted a match with me, and now you found yourself in a tag match against me and Steven. You need to find a tag partner. And keep in mind, all of your friends we've already injured.
Gentlemen,
We got Fat Apple and Pumpkin Pie in the ring.
hey, how about we just sign this and get it over with? Oh, I'm happy to sign this. I hope you're happy to sign it.
Hold that.
And kill them. Eddie, you need to calm down a little bit.
Bam! I'll sign it next. I got you.
Like, you need to, take a chill. Remember how to spell your name?
Now, let's get a bit of fat boy right there.
Remember how to spell your name? Did you
Come on, fat boy! Put your name on it!
Put your name on it!
Now, who's it gonna be? Is it gonna be this pumpkin right here? We already made pumpkin pie of her. We gonna have a Thanksgiving feast with some KFC. Whoa, Shades, calm down a second. I can assure you that Jason Cohen's partner is not Madison Payne. But I can assure that you obviously didn't read the contract. A smart man like yourself, I thought you would have read the fine print, but I guess you're just about as dumb as you look. Jason Cohen, Madison Payne is not Jason Cohen's partner. Madison Payne is not Jason Cohen. No, she is the special guest ring enforcer. She's gonna keep the both of us in line.
Yeah.
my star Steven Storm and Andy Shades versus Jason Cohen and his partner Aaron Abbott.
If it was underhanded, you know, sometimes you got to get a little dirty when you're playing with snakes. But so that's basically what led to it. And then of course Madison was made the special enforcer. And now we're gonna take, you know, some look at some final words that we all had to say to each other, and then we're gonna take a look at what happened. I'm not gonna show the whole match. I'll show a few highlights, and then I'm gonna talk about everything that happened in that match.
Andy Shades tried to get me arrested after Steven Storm did hit me in the back of the head with a bottle during our trick-or-treat street fight. There's nothing more that I'd rather do November 19th, Thanksgiving Throwdown at Racing Mason in Seymour, Indiana, than team up with you and take on Steven Storm and Andy Shades.
Yeah, they should have read the fine print because we got a special enforcer, Madison Payne.
Andy Shades, Steven Storm, I am so tired of your snarky, backstabbing, cheating ways. I am the special enforcer, and you two will not do anything to these two men behind me.
Steven Storm, Andy Shades, we have finally reached our moment. Seems like I'm standing at the crossroads between a dream and a nightmare. The dream, to get in there and do something I've wanted to do my whole life. The nightmare, having to stand across the ring from two of the most cold-hearted bullies I've ever met. Seems like for 40 years all I've done is run from bullies. And Seymour, I run no more. I'm not just going to be there alone. I'm going to have one of my best friends, Aaron Abbott, by my side. I'm going to have Madison Payne on the outside, making sure that you two don't get up to no good. Because I don't just do this for myself. I fight for them, and I fight for every single one of you out there. I fight for anyone that's ever been told they're not good enough. Everybody that's been bullied for how they look, for how they dress, where they come from, what they stand for. You two are going to find out that bullies never win. And Sunday at Seymour, I knock your asses out.
That's basically what happened there. That was November 19th of 2023. Huge crowd. My wife and kids were there. my mom, my brothers were watching on Facebook Live. I think that's the first time they'd ever, see me do anything like that. It was, as you see now, I'm wearing the Bengals jersey that I wore then. I still wore that singlet, but it was under it. I wasn't about to go out there with my flabby arms. But no, me and Aaron had the Bengals jerseys. Came out to that Bengals theme. It was just, it was a whole, we didn't just want the match. We wanted, the whole thing. We wanted them to know that we were there. We meant business. This wasn't just some announcer sitting behind the desk. Oh, he's gonna play wrestler now. I was 100% in this. I don't have any kind of traditional wrestling training, and to the guys that train, that started training, when I was starting there, and will still be trying to learn. Those guys are the real professional wrestlers. I'm not ever gonna say I was a professional wrestler because I didn't go through what they had to go through. So I'll never try to like I was, something special. I was, I trained for that match. I did everything I could to get ready for it, knew what to expect. The best I could. And as you've seen, I didn't get in the ring much. It was probably for the best. But when I got in there, I was pure adrenaline. Unfortunately, pure WPW was back yet again. I knew it would happen. I'm just glad it didn't happen the whole match. I was standing there on the apron just waiting for Aaron to get over to get that tag. I was just waiting. Of course, they didn't let him in, which is smart on their behalf. I mean, why would you... of course, on one hand, it's smart to not let me in because, I'm fresh and they've beaten Aaron down. But on the other hand, it's freaking Aaron Abbott in there. I wouldn't want to be in there against him. I can't say enough about how talented he is. If he ever gets, he ever decides he wants to come back, I know he'd broken his ankle, but if he ever decides he wants to come back, that's going to be great to watch because I know he's going to get to even bigger heights than he's ever had. But, I was waiting to get that tag, and I was fine. I got the tag, and then I came in freaking House of Fire, ready to just let all that anger, all that aggression out, and stupid WPW strikes. And I had developed asthma over the past year, so I was having an asthma attack at the same time. But I would have had to drop dead to get me to stop. And of course Madison got involved at the end, taking the garbage can away. Of course, Shades would go on for weeks saying the special enforcer shouldn't be, and people would be pointing out how Mike Tyson got involved as a special enforcer, because anytime I've ever watched wrestling, if there's been a special enforcer, they stand on the outside. If a referee is taken out of commission, they're allowed to get in there. But anyway, that was an argument that went on for weeks after. We're not talking about that now. But she did what she had to do, took the garbage can away from Steven. It's not her fault it came down on his head. But yeah, just hitting that pounce at the end, that tackle, was just like, everything went by in a blur. I'd go back and watch it later, the slam and hitting him in the corner with the splashes, and then getting the 1, 2, 3. Like, I went into that not knowing for sure if we'd win. I just wanted, to stand up for myself, to have a great moment with one of my best friends in the business standing by my side. And, I did that. I didn't actually, think about whether I could win or lose. I won. The crowd went nuts. Got back there. I got my WPW under control. Got my inhaler for my asthma. I was okay after that. Of course, I was sore later on after the adrenaline wore off. And I didn't really even get much done to me in the match. Can't imagine how Aaron was feeling. But, that was that time. Like I said, I've grown to have a lot of respect for Andy Shades and Steven Storm, but Andy Shades lost a lot of that respect this past Saturday. I really thought he'd changed. But, I'm sure he'll spin this his own way. He'll have his own comments on this and say how he was right about everything, but I ain't planning on there won't be any encore performances or anything like that. I'm completely done, pretty much. That's all. This business always never say never, but I'm about as close to never as you can get without saying never. Put it that way. But, you know, this isn't like a career in retrospective. You know, I plan on being involved in wrestling as many ways as I can for as long as I possibly can, as long as they want me around, you know. If I ever get to where I'm not useful and they don't need me there anymore, I hope they tell me that, because I don't want to hold them down as a company, you know. If they get somebody that can do it better than me, you know, I'm not saying this with bitterness at all. If they can get somebody that can do it better than me, then please get them, because, you know, Supreme deserves the best. And I think right now I'm, you know, at the top of my game of what I'm doing, and I'm always looking for ways to improve. And, you know, people probably seen this episode coming out like, oh, he's going to talk about the lists. You know, at the end of the day, them stupid lists, I really don't care. It's just something I talk about on Facebook. I don't sit here and think, oh, this person didn't make a list. You know, I've said all I have about that. People don't like me because I express my opinions on my Facebook. You know, I'm at the point in my life where I don't care. You know, it's my Facebook. If I'm putting my opinions on my Facebook, I'm not putting them on another person's Facebook. I'm certainly not bullying anybody like I've been accused of. Sorry to get off on this tangent. I needed to address this before I got off here. But you know, except for a couple people, I seem to get along with everybody. You know, I hope that I'm approachable. You know, there's times I do complain because people will ask obsessively about things, and I'm swamped, and it's like I haven't even had a chance to get to it. But other than that, you know, I just want to thank a few people here before I go. The man who runs Supreme, you know, thank you for everything. Like, both at Supreme and, you know, personally, just thank you for everything. To all the friends I've made, you know, fans and wrestlers, you know, I've made some great friends. I have great, you know, support system when I'm not feeling the best. You know, they pick me up. You know, hopefully I do the same to them. Never really thought I'd have friends again after high school when I became closed up. I've talked a little bit about this before on other episodes. You know, I don't know why. It's just in high school I kind of just closed up and didn't open up to anybody. And you know, there's a core group of friends that I have in wrestling that have really brought me out of my shell. And of course, most of them are in the group chat. My money, the greatest group chat ever created. I've done a bunch of group chats because of wrestling. You know, some shows will have group chats. You know, what's going on. You know, who's going to be in the matches. You know, you need to get this music. But I mean, there's a group chat with friends. I ain't going to mention who's in it, but there's days I can't get by without you guys. Honestly, you know, to be real here. So thank you guys for that, and just thank all the people watching this podcast. I know this is a little different if you're expecting, you know, me to talk about Turtles and Tales from the Crypt and Power Rangers and stuff. Sorry to disappoint you on this bonus episode. That's what the main ones are for. My bonus ones are kind of just, you know, so I can talk about stuff I really like. And, you know, I feel like I've done a lot in wrestling. I feel like, you know, beyond just the wrestling stuff, people I've helped, both, you know, that have been victims of things, or just charities that the wrestling, you know, the Supreme Wrestling has, you know, collected money for. I felt like I've done a lot of good. I've spoken about child abuse during one of the shows. You know, it's that stuff that I really, you know, wish I would be remembered more for. If anybody's ever going to remember me for wrestling, just that, you know, I really enjoyed helping people. Whether it be wrestling stuff or, you know, being friends, being someone to talk to, you know, helping out with the charity stuff. Just, you know, I'm not trying to make this is my Hall of Fame speech. I just hope if anybody ever does think of me later on, they just think of that stuff. And, you know, I thoroughly enjoyed everything that I've gotten to do. And like I said, I don't plan on it being the end. Unless someone wants it to be the end. Certainly not the end of this podcast. You know, this comes out, you know, November 19th, like I said. And a lot of bonus episodes in the works coming up soon. We're going to see one with me and my wife talking about our childhood memories. I'm going to try to get my brothers to maybe send me some videos. Or how about this? Anybody that might be listening to this, send me a short video of some, Christmas memories that you guys had. It can be a long video, a short video, just some stuff I can put in there. It'd be really cool to have a bunch of the, anybody that's actually watching this thing, have, memories, quick memory of Christmas, something nice for Christmas. We've already talked about toys, so can't really talk about Christmas toys, but that's bonus episode coming up. And then, as always, be on the lookout Wednesday for our new episodes of our regular Tales from the 90s. Those will be 9 a.m. YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. But thank you all for joining me. I hope this podcast went well. I hope it didn't seem like I was trying to be too arrogant about, I did this in wrestling. I'm just giving my experiences. I mean, I can't say enough about the guys and the girls that do this every week. The old cliche, it's not a trampoline. Trust me, it is not. Like, an example of that, I was just standing in there one day when I was, training for this match. I was, going over a few moves and stuff that I might want to try to do. Just standing there, somebody fell on the mat, and I almost tore my knee because I wasn't expecting the ring to, shake the way it did. Yeah, it ain't, like I said, the old cliche, it ain't no trampoline. So the guys and girls that do this every week, I don't know how you get out of bed the next day, let alone do this weekly, and a lot of you than just once a week. I can't, I just want to be that. The last thing I say is I cannot express how much respect I have for you all and what you put yourself through, whether there's 2 people in the crowd or we got a packed house like we had this past weekend. But anyway, thank you all for joining me for this podcast. Hope you liked it. It was a little bit different than normal. And we'll see you next time. Tales from the 90s.